to welcome you once again to the 154th annual meeting of the American Benevolent Society. This past year, again, has been one of the most challenging during my 32 years, which is hard to believe, of serving on the board of directors of the ABS. Nevertheless, this organization, your organization, continues to ably serve the American community here in Mexico. Our office was closed all of last year, and the board still has not met in person for almost 2 years. Every time we dare to think we are in the post-pandemic stage and can begin to meet in person again, another strain or variant shows up and obliges us to reconsider the safety of ourselves and all the members of the society and put that idea on hold. In fact, we originally hoped to have our first in-person meeting with a Thanksgiving celebration last November, but it became very clear with what was going on that that was not possible. Then we planned to celebrate this annual meeting combined with the Cherry Pie Festival, which are really 2 meetings in one, at the ambassador's residence, and even got embassy approval. However, once again, better judgment prevailed, and here we are again online. I should say, while technology allows us to gather virtually and continue to interact, it is clear that virtual meetings are no substitute for in-person gatherings. And I think we've all become quite tired and maybe even bored with seeing our friends and coworkers on a computer screen or on a mobile phone. I, for one, long for in-person gatherings, and sooner rather than later. In recognition of the preference for and benefits of in-person meetings, that is why we have decided to separate this year the dates of the annual meeting and the Cherry Pie Festival. As you all know, one of the highlights of the Cherry Pie Festival that has always immediately followed the business meeting is presenting that award to an individual group that has been an outstanding volunteer in and contributor to our community over the past year. But as you also know, we always keep the secret, the recipient of the award a secret until the night of the festival. The very nature of the award and its recipient has always resulted in great surprise to that person, because these people never expect it. They're not looking for it and do not expect recognition. They just want to see the fruits of their work. And that surprise simply cannot be duplicated or appreciated online. I can remember the last couple, they were caught people completely off guard, and that's what we kind of tried to do. And it's really not hard to do, as I said before, because these people are not expecting it. But those kinds of things really have to be in person. So we decided we will not be presenting that award this evening, although we have been working on who we will give it to. But we are planning an event for several weeks from today, tentatively the last week of April, that will be held at the ambassador residence in their garden outside. We really hope to be able to do that this year. Again, that depends on a lot of things, not a lot of things, depends on this pandemic. But all things going, if they go as planned, we will be able to get together finally in April to really enjoy the presentation of the award. We'll have a separate program for you on that day. With back to the business, I'm very proud to be able to report that our staff, under the capable leadership of Aliki, continues to respond in a professional and caring manner to the many challenges they have faced this past year. We continue to serve all of our clients and have not left anybody uncared for. This continues to require great creativity, flexibility, and dedication under the current challenging circumstances. I hope that all of you saw the news that we are very recently relocated our office from the Zona Rosa to Christ Church in Lomas de Chapultepec. While we originally thought the Zona Rosa would be closer and more accessible and attractive to our clients, that turned out really not to be the case. Not just because of the pandemic. We had several months there, almost a year before the pandemic started, and it just didn't come out to be what we wanted. With the pandemic, of course, we closed the office. And now that we have decided we've moved, and Liki will hear talk about more about the move to our current location in her presentation. But we've moved our office out of the Zona Rosa, and we're now into Lomas de Chapultepec. Our board of directors has also demonstrated unwavering commitment to the ABS by good attendance at virtual board meetings, Again, I was explaining before we got started, traffic is no longer an issue. You can never not get to a meeting because of traffic. And that has made attendance really strong and good in this board and other boards throughout the country. But throughout the year, we've had a really good contribution of participants of our board. Another item is the collaboration between the ABS and the ABC Hospital. Last year, it was extraordinary. In order to deal with the COVID-19 crisis, we had incredible collaboration. We have always had a strong, close working relationship, but nothing like what was last year. As the epidemic was getting out of control, in 2020, our two organizations worked closely together to secure significant donations to support the COVID-19 program at the hospital. As a result, the hospital was able to serve many more victims of the virus than otherwise would have been possible. Such collaboration was not required this past year in 2021 for different reasons, but it wasn't required. And as you will see, we continue to collaborate, but no in terms of getting benefits for their program, the COVID-19. You will see this reflected in the numbers that were presented by Robert in the financial report, because we have apples and oranges look at the numbers for 2020, 2021. But we will explain that to you very carefully. We will hear later from Jose Maria Suberia of the ABC Hospital about how they continue to deal with and struggle with, I would imagine, the effects of the pandemic. I'm also looking forward to once again hearing from Mark Silty of the American School Foundation about how the school continues to deal with the virus. Now, my kids are old and grown up. I have grandkids that are in a lot of the school, but not kids. And of course, I don't have to deal with the grandkids directly in school. But I can only imagine, I see this in my children, my grown children, the challenges that virtual schooling has presented for so many young families. I expect Mark will give us some perspective on this issue moving forward. What can we expect in the next year? We also look forward to developing a good, strong working relationship with Ambassador Ken Salazar, the new U.S. ambassador in Mexico, and so many new staff at the embassy, one of whom you'll meet tonight. Although the executive committee of the ABS has not been able to meet with the ambassador to personally welcome him as the honorary president of the ABS, he has already accepted the honor. He, like all other ambassadors, he says, what does it mean? What is the role? We explained him the history, and he's like the 40th or the 50th. I don't know how many ambassadors have accepted the nomination, but he is continuing that tradition, and he will be with us. They have promised, again, things being possible, that in April you will get to see and hear from him at the Cherry Pie Festival. No longer annual meeting and Cherry Pie, just the Cherry Pie Festival. So anyway, we will continue to work together with close coordination with the embassy to effectively serve the American community here in Mexico. In a few minutes, we'll hear from the Consul General, not the Consul General, the representative from the embassy, David Miko, about what is going on at the embassy. And we expect to be joined by Ambassador Salazar at the Cherry Pie in several weeks. Later in the meeting, we will be presenting the slate of board of directors for 2022. You will see very few changes. You'll see very few changes. We in the past, there's always been people coming and leaving from Mexico, et cetera. This year, there were very little of that took place on our board. And so you'll see very few changes, and Francis Hutanis will be presenting those to you for your approval. I'm certain we will be ready to continue into our 155th year of service to the community here in Mexico City. Let us all pray for the continued effective and expeditious distribution of the vaccine and booster moving forward. Remember, we cannot let our guard down regarding the pandemic. Every day we get a little closer to the post-pandemic stage, but I fear we're not there yet. And anyone that claims he doesn't have any friends with COVID doesn't really have any friends. I mean, we all know people who have it or just had it. There's even family members as well. I know a friend who was telling me in his 21 people of his immediate family here, 19 have had COVID. Thank goodness none got really sick because they were all taking the appropriate vaccinations. But it's something that we're going to have to deal with probably forever in one form or another. Then again, I want to finish up saying thank you all for your attention this evening and for your continuing support of the American Benevolent Society. With